Welcome to the Black Women's World Podcast. Welcome to Black Women's World, where Black women vibe and thrive together. And if you ain't a Black woman, you'll get to know at least one. Because this Black Women's World, my Black woman's world, is whatever I say it is, simply because I am. So welcome, Sistanistas and Sistanista lovers. We're here for you. Much love and peace. Well, hey y'all, it's Tracy Mack. Listen, Happy New Year. Now look, you got about to January 15th with me to say Happy New Year, because after about January 15th, I'm going back to saying, hey, how you doing? Listen, I just want to bring a little balance to a video I did the other day about being an empath. I got several texts and phone calls from people, boy, that y'all were excited about that. And a lot of responses from my own page and different groups where I shared that video. And a lot of people saying, me too. One lady was saying, I didn't know why I cried all the time. And another male friend of mine said, I think I understand why my grandson cries all the time. He said, I'm going to look more into this. And I don't know if that's why, but it's worth looking into. Because, and then I had one person, sometimes it's always going to be one, who said, I don't think that's of God. As a matter of fact, it could be witchcraft. And I was like, ooh, your draws and your ignorance are showing. Because he had the nerve to say that. So I'm going to be just as bold and say what I said. Because the word empath, or the word empathy, comes from the Greek word empathia, which simply means passion. Now, we all as human beings have a level of empathy. It just means to be able to sense or feel, understand what somebody else is feeling. That's all. Now, some of us have a higher awareness or a hypersensitivity, and so we are called empaths. Doesn't necessarily make us special. We can feel what other people feel. We can sometimes feel what they think. And to me, that goes right along with the spiritual gift of discernment. Because if you have the gift of discernment, what better way to be able to understand is to include the gift of empathy. To me, especially when you talk about the word anointed, having that zhuzh, you want to have the gift of empathy alongside with the gift of discernment to feel, to know, and even prophetically. Because prophetic doesn't just mean to foretell. Prophetic also means to tell the future, what it will do. And so to me, to have the ability to be an empath really enhances those gifts. And even when we talk about a biblical reference, as I told the gentleman, when Jesus was in the crowd and the woman with the issue of blood touched him, the crowd was just around him, and even the disciples, maybe in the desire to protect him, everybody was touching him. But when that woman touched the hem of his garment, he said, who touched me? And he felt virtue leave him. If that's not a good example of being an empath, I don't know what to tell you. We get to feel, but what I want to bring a balance to it, because a lot of times being an empath, you read about it, and it really leans on the side of the heaviness, the fatigue. Sometimes even, like I said, sometimes you feel sick too, because you can really feel that thing. And then sometimes you got to turn off the noise because you hear everything. You can hear thoughts when people aren't saying anything with their mouths and they sitting right in front of you. You can just read it. But there's also a wonderful side of being an empath, because you get to feel the joy, the excitement, and the elation too. And I don't think that's talked about enough. I was thinking the other day when we had my Aunt Murray's funeral, and it was kind of like a roast. And I mentioned some of the things she did for me. And up until I was about 14, after 14, I didn't have to ask my Aunt Mary for anything. Nobody else either, for that matter. But when I was younger, my parents did a great job of taking care of me and my siblings. We were clean, we were neat. If it had a hole in it, my mama would buy patches and iron them on. They would sew socks and knees and elbows up. Make sure your shoes, even if they were old, they were shined. But my Aunt Murray had good stuff, designer stuff. If we wore Body Splash, my Aunt Murray had Estee Lauder Youth Dew. I mean, even when we got shoes in my house, you get shoes, you go to either the exchange when we were military, or you went to Payless. Well, I don't know if they had Payless. Pick and Pay, I think it was back then. Or either the grocery store. Sometimes you know how they had shoes in the bin, them shoes with an elastic string strung together, and you can only try on one shoe. But my Aunt Myrtle, when she took me to get shoes, she'd take me to High Farmers or Leggett's, which is like Belk here in North Carolina, and that was high dollar to me. And I remember I had a Jerry curl, but I didn't want to go into my freshman year in high school with a curl. I wanted a perm. And my mom said, well, I'll get you one when you get home. I do it when you get home, because I was in Virginia. Mom Murray said, I'm going to take it to the beauty shop. And she took me to Regis Beauty Salon in Tower Mall, and I got my first perm. And then later on, my mom taught me how to do my own, and I don't think I got a professional perm 10 times in my life, because my mama showed me how to do my own hair. And but my Aunt Murray, even we had black and white cereal at my house. Rice Krispies, cornflakes. We had the, colorful box of cornflakes. Sometimes we just had the black and white generic box that said cornflakes, rice cereal, or the jar that said peanut butter, and you had to mix it because it had the oil on top. But my Aunt Murray, she had cereal all on top of the refrigerator. She had Apple Jacks and Fruity Pebbles and Fruit Loops. And I remember one year, my cousins, her children, Devonna, rest in peace, Devonna, and Lil George, my cousin, they got mopeds. Oh my God. And they were bad mopeds. They were much like those of us of a certain age. I don't know if you remember the group Devo. It was a video, and they had these mopeds, and their mopeds were very similar, if not the exact, from what I recall. And they got those mopeds, and when I saw those mopeds, I was so excited. I was jumping up and down on the sidewalk. I was like, oh my God. And one of their friends said, it ain't yours. And I said, but I feel like it is. And that's a part of being an empath. You can feel the excitement. I've had friends to win Billboard Music Awards, and I felt it. I've been an empathy coach on movie sets twice. And I'm saying I did it a whole lot of times. But when the movie won just a little award, an Indie Award, I feel it. I've had friends to win awards or see a friend do well, or even, I'm not athletic at all, but I love sports. I love tennis and basketball and football and swimming. And so when I see those athletes do, I feel it. Sometimes I'm in the house and I see them win. I'm jumping up and down like it's me. That's part of being an empath. We get to feel love. We get to feel others' needs. But empaths don't just lean into the negative and the heaviness and the fatigue, which it can be. But we can use our spiritual alchemy to flip that too, not only for the person, but within ourselves, so we don't carry it. But if you're going to carry something, you get to feel the good too. You get to lean in and feel the joy when somebody else has joy. I remember being overexcited going to birthday parties when I was a little girl. I didn't ever want their gifts. I was just so glad they got it, even if it was something I couldn't have. But that's part of being an empath. I felt the heaviness too. But sometimes my tears were tears of joy. So I just wanted to bring some balance to that and some truth to those who may think negatively about it. But that don't even matter to me. Because I can also feel what they feeling and thinking then too. Don't let your ignorance show so much next time. But anyway, I'm grateful and I love y'all for real. Now listen, Happy New Year until January 15th. After that, how you doing? Much love and peace. I'm grateful and I love y'all for real. You've been listening to Black Women's World Podcast, the BWWP, brought to you in part by Tracy Mack Solutions for Life Institute, coaching and training services. No doubt you have enjoyed being in our world, and it doesn't have to stop here. Head on over to blackwomensworld.com. This is my personal invitation to you to stay connected with me on social media and more. I'd love to see you there, and I'm so grateful you came to be with me here. Invite someone else to join you in our queendom next time so they can feel the vibe of our tribe of Sistanistas and Sistanista lovers too. Remember to be kind, be authentic, be generous, be excellent, be grateful, and while you're at it, go ahead and be extraordinary, because that's just what Sistanistas do, on purpose through mission with passion and compassion. It's a Black woman's world, baby, and you, my Sistanista, are proof. I'm your self-discovery companion, your professional peacemaker, and your host, Tracy Mack. Wherever you are in the world, May you love and be loved by somebody. Peace.